Hello everyone, I'm your hostess with the mostest, 8-Second Gaming. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the 3 best legend combos that you are going to be wanting to run for Season 21 Split 2. Having the right legend combination that fits your playstyle is absolutely imperative for you to actually climb. So today we're going to be covering 3 different ones, one for each playstyle. But just quickly, if you guys are really looking to take your Apex skill to the next level, then you have to check out the GameLeap website right now. Over there, we have top-level coaches creating the best, most highly informative guides to make you the best player you could possibly be. We have literally hundreds of guides already on the site covering legend guides, gun guides, VOD reviews, and much more, with more on the way every single day. So click the link in the description, pick yourself up a membership, and start to improve today. But okay, jumping into things, let's start talking about these legend combinations. And I do want to make one thing pretty clear off the start. The legend combinations are pretty basic this season. Most of the time, you're going to be seeing the same 3 legends, and that's a pretty standard team comp. But for this video, I don't want to give just the same 3 legends over and over and over, so I am going to be spicing things up a bit and giving you some different legend options. That being said though, let's start off with the hybrid playstyle, because that is going to be the most standard and the most boring in terms of legend diversity. Now what a hybrid playstyle means that you are okay playing both edge of zone and also in the middle of zone. It doesn't matter where you find yourself, because you can adapt to that and you change your playstyle on the fly. And this is going to be the good old faithful Bangalore, Seer, and Catalyst. Now Bangalore is going to be entry fragger here. It's pretty cut and dry. Bangalore's been pretty meta for the past couple seasons, and I think a lot of people really understand why Bangalore is a good option here. Now, despite the quote-unquote nerf that she did get with the changes to the smoke, it's not making her any worse of a legend. She is still a very solid pick. She can do what she needs to do. She can cut off line of sight. She can make rotations for your team. She can stall pushes with her ultimate. She can create push opportunities with her ultimate. It is a ton of uses, and Bangalore is just a pretty standard pick right now. She's pretty useful in pretty much every situation. That's why she's really solid in a hybrid team comp. Now next up, we do have Seer, and with the nerf that Bloodhound did receive, Seer is basically becoming the next big scan legend. His pick rate has actually just skyrocketed since the Bloodhound nerfs. It went up something around 51% at the time of recording this. And I don't think that's going to stop anytime soon, because Seer just does what you need to do in fights, because Bloodhound doesn't have the option anymore. It gives you the constant wall hacks to see through smoke. It gives you the heartbeat sensor so you can see if people are ratting on you. The tactical can silence people so that they can't use their abilities mid-fight. Seer is still a very solid option. Now I will warn you guys, with Seer, in order to get him to max strength, you are going to have to get him to purple armor. Without purple armor, he's not as useful as he can be. He's still good, but you really need that extra scan ability in order to make Seer actually pop off as hard as he used to. So really prioritize getting the recon beacons or the Evo harvesters on your rotation so you can get Seer to purple as fast as you possibly can. But again, without even purple armor, having those scans in fights with the ultimate is still very strong. No matter what, Seer is going to be offering your team a decent amount in fights, so that's why I have Seer here. And last up on this team comp, we do have Catalyst. Now Catalyst is probably going to be the standard kind of controller legend right now. I think there's kind of 2 options for the controller legends, one being Catalyst, one being Watson. But in terms of hybrid play, Watson doesn't have the same abilities that Catalyst does. Catalyst still has the option to really lock down a building with her spikes, and also being able to lock down the doors, especially with the new Pharaoh door passive that she does have, where she's able to rebuild doors if they get blown off. Because one of the toughest things about holding a building is making sure that people don't blow your door off, because if you lose the door, it's a lot harder to hold the building. But with Catalyst, she can just rebuild that door and you guys are perfectly fine. Now Catalyst does have a really hard learning curve, especially figuring out where to place your wall and when to place your wall. But once you really start to understand how to use the wall, it can help your team in so many different situations, including rotations and in mid-fight. Now this is going to be a really standard team comp. It's a little bit boring, but honestly, it's the best team comp for hybrid, so I have to mention it here. But next up, we can talk about the edge of zone team. These are going to be the ones that are going to be fighting a lot. You want to kind of rotate in late, take as many fights as you possibly can, and get as many kill points as you possibly can. Now for this, you do need a team that is going to be super aggressive. So for this team comp, I'm going to recommend Revenant, Fuse, and Newcastle. Now this is a little bit of a weird team comp, but I told you guys I was going to spice it up a little bit, give you guys some interesting team comps, because I don't want to see people running the exact same thing every single game. It gets boring. Now in this team comp, Revenant is going to be your entry fragger, and it is a little bit different because Revenant typically is a secondary fragger, so you're going to have to play Rev a little bit differently here. Though it's not a huge issue, because Rev Rev does become a raid boss when he has his ultimate up. He's able to jump into fights, he's able to be super aggressive and be able to get out of those perfectly fine because he just has so much health. And it is a little bit safer now because of the changes that Revenant did receive to one of his class passives, the GameLeap perk. Even if your teammate gets the knock and you get the assist, you are still going to be resetting your jump. So if you get somebody low, you jump in, they move out of position, and your teammate gets the knock, you still have the reset on your jump so you can get back out to safety if need be. Revenant is super overpowered right now. I do expect a nerf coming in the near future, but until that nerf comes in, absolutely abuse this character. He's great for an aggressive team comp, and he's going to help you a lot in fights with just how much heat he can take off your teammates. But speaking of heat, we have the secondary fragger in this group, and that is going to be Fuse. Now right now in the meta, you do need some sort of scan character to help keep your team on a level playing field, because you're probably going to be running into at least a Bloodhound or a Seer. And having to go against a team that has wall hacks when you don't is a massive disadvantage. And right now, Fuse does have a pretty good wall hack ability with his Motherload. Now I do want to make this very clear. The Fuse Motherload redeploy balloon exploit is an exploit, and I don't feel comfortable kind of sharing this because I don't like exploits, but it is extremely strong and it does work very well in fights to the point that it's even being used in ALGS. So if it's being used in ALGS, people are going to know about it anyway, and you may as well keep yourself on a level playing field. And this can change at any moment. Respawn could just say tomorrow, hey, you know what? This is a little bit too strong. Fuse was never meant to do this, so we're going to take it out. And if that is the case, you can change Fuse out for Mad Maggie and still be good at being aggressive. But until that happens, Fuse is still a very solid option at being aggressive in these fights, giving your team wall hacks, giving your team the ability to push certain things, and he's going to be doing what a secondary fragger needs to do because he's going to have a lot of different options here. Fuse is actually starting to become a little bit more meta than he has in the past, and I think a lot of people are actually excited to play him because it is a little bit different. But for this hard edge aggressive team, I do think Fuse is a solid option here. And rounding the team out is going to be your support legend, and that is going to be Newcastle. Newcastle is one of the strongest, if not the strongest characters in the game. The ability that he gives to his team to play any spot is just massively underrated. Everything in his kit is just massively overtuned. He has the best revive in the game to get your team out of cover or even give himself cover in a pinch, because people have a hard time spraying through that shield if you have something like a purple or a gold knock. His mobile shield is also extremely strong at being able to either rotate out of a fight by giving yourself some cover as you move away, or being able to push a team in a building because you have a shield in front of you that's taking a lot of fire, making the enemy team waste bullets on that. And on top of that, you have his ultimate that he can slam down wherever he wants to give your team a spot to play. And it also has the option to jump to a teammate. So if your Revenant jumps in, it gets a little bit too overzealous and doesn't get the knock to reset his jump, don't worry, Newcastle can jump in after him, slam down the ultimate, and give him a breath of fresh air. But that's not all, because one of the biggest issues that edge teams have is trying to find an endgame spot towards the smaller circles. But with Newcastle, as soon as you rotate into zone, you don't have to find a good spot to play because he can just put his ultimate down and give you a spot to play. You don't have the issue of panicking trying to find a position because Newcastle makes a position for you. So in these hard, aggressive edge style team comps, Newcastle slots in perfectly. So if you're looking to play edge, try this team comp out. Let me know how it goes in the comments down below. And last up, we have our zone team. These are the teams that are going to be looking to get high positions in games and get all of their kills towards the end game. And right now, honestly, there are quite a few different options for this, but the one that I'm going to be recommending to you guys is Wraith, Alter, and Watson. Now, Wraith is the standard entry fragger here. She can play super split from her team because she's extremely safe in doing so with her phase, but also the Wraith portal is one of the best endgame reposition tools because it repositions you safely. There's no other legend that can get your team from point A to point B as effectively and as safely as Wraith does it. Ashe is kind of an option, but it doesn't have the same flexibility that Wraith portal does, and Alter can kind of do it too, but again, it's not the flexibility or the safety that Wraith does. Wraith is just a very solid staple pick in Apex and has been since the game came out because she does what no other legend does. Until they take away her kit, she's always going to be a solid pick for zone comps, so try Wraith out. It's very standard, it's very boring. I know, I'm sorry, but she has to be here because she is the best option. Now next up, the secondary fragger is going to be Alter. Now I absolutely love Alter. I think she's an incredibly versatile legend and we are barely scratching the surface on what she can do for teams. But in terms of a zone team comp, she offers a ton of flexibility in the different buildings that you can play and the different spots that you can take in endgame. Because as the final zone is closing, if you have no door on your building, you're kind of screwed, or you're forced to go out one door and enemy teams can just funnel shoot you. But with Alter, you can pop out at any moment at any point, so they have to play around that. But on top of that, Alter also gives you some pretty solid rotation abilities, because if a team's shooting at you, Alter can just pop a portal through an object and get you guys to cover pretty safely. And once you find a building, if there's like a care package coming down or you want to try and get some more loot, Alter can just put down the Void Nexus. You can go grab the care package, grab loot, and just Void Nexus back to safety. And if an enemy team tries to chase you or tries to push you, that's why you have the support character being Watson. Watson right now is incredibly strong at holding down buildings. The Watson fences make so many spots just a lot safer to play because people have a hard time pushing them. And right now her generators are incredibly strong. Being able to place 2 down or have one that just has a ton of HP and also regens more HP on your shields is very solid. I tend to always lean towards having the generator get more HP because you typically only need 1, but if you're holding a very large building and you need 2 generators, you have that option as well. She has a ton of flexibility and she's fantastic at locking down buildings. And paired with something like a Wraith or an Alter, if somebody's trying to chase you through the Void Nexus or the portal, you just have a Watson fence on the other side. They come through, they're stunned, they're being electrocuted, and it's just a kill feed for you. And for some people that are wondering, yes, you absolutely could replace Watson for Caustic. Caustic still is a fantastic option here, but I think Watson just pairs a little bit better because of the generators not being able to be nade spammed out right now with all of the fuses that are running around, because Fuse has a pretty high pick rate and it's only climbing. So that is why I'm recommending Watson here over Caustic, but again, Caustic's still a solid option. But let me know in the comments down below what kind of team comp you are going to be running this rank split. If you guys want to stay up to date with the latest and greatest Apex Legends tips, tricks, and news, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. Once again, I'm 8 Second Gaming. I'll see you guys in the next one.